Old, maybe a year and a half, wavy blonde hair in a ponytail, pink t-shirt, jeans, and the curb was 8 inches high at least. She failed 2 times trying to get up onto that sidewalk over the curb. He was about 4. Hair trimmed close, gray t-shirt, jeans. In some ways more of a gentleman than some who have 30 or 50 years on him. And gently, without a hint of superiority, he told her something about steadying herself by putting her arms out to the side a bit. She rocked and tried to get up on that curb and failed again. And so he encouraged her, and she put her hands out to the side yet one more time. And he reached out his hand just at the right time, and she put her hand in his. It was enough to steady her and get her up onto the curb and the sidewalk. And then they followed their adult caretaker into the restaurant. There are a myriad of ways to help another person, but few of those ways are so genuinely empty of condescension. In fact, help sometimes comes with a little bit of an attempt to toughen us up, or a little mild humiliation. Other attempts become impatient, and they're almost like, just drag them up. Come on, get up here and hurry. Some help involves truly unnecessary lectures. At least they're unnecessary the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th time. Some help has in it what I call almost gospel help. God helps those who help themselves. A penny saved is a penny earned. If at first you don't succeed, try again. There are all those, and it's almost as if sometimes we treat them as if they were on the tablets that Moses brought down from the mountain too. He just forgot to mention them. We've all been offered help in unhelpful ways. My wife drives a stick shift pretty well, in spite of, not because of, the way I taught her. Took her out to a parking lot 20-some years ago with rolling hills. It was a clinic parking lot. And she practiced around, and then at one point I got her parked upward on a hill. I said, I'm just going to stand right behind the car here. This will be incentive to you. Now, that's not very bright as I look back. But we were newly married and in love. And I'll stand right behind you here, and that'll be incentive to let out the clutch without rolling backwards, because you'll have hills. Somehow she managed to learn to drive stick shift in spite of me. It seems as though when I meet with couples who are planning on getting married, if they're in their 20s or 30s, you start talking about driving. And you get some interesting discussions going on. When my daughter was 16, had her permit. Well, I had a medical issue, a couple seizures. I didn't get to sit in the passenger seat with her. She was maybe a lucky person. This little 4-year-old fellow was helping in a way that was beautiful. And I can't help but wonder, will he still be able to share help like that when he's 22 or 44 or 66? If he'll still have this just natural way of lending aid. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. On the surface, who wouldn't want to shepherd? But in reality, throw in a little almost gospel, a little random humiliation, the occasional someone who will try to help you get it right when you're already doing it right, and then show you how to do it wrong, and the 1 in 100 who just plain love to see you mess up and then point it out. By the time we reach adulthood, I'm not sure we're looking for shepherds anymore. Charles Schulz did a wonderful cartoon. Charlie Brown comes up to Snoopy and he says, I hear you're writing a book about theology. I hope you have a title. And Snoopy says, oh, the title's the easy part. I might be wrong. As we worship today, across the country there is a global gathering of United Methodists. It's called General Conference. There's worship, there's study, there's a lot of talk about God, a lot of debate, and I pray for General Conference every day because having gone to annual conference, I know one of the seldom heard things that, well, never heard things there practically is, I'd like to stand up and say something, but know this, I really might be wrong. It seems the larger the group and the more important the topic, the less we're willing to admit we might be wrong. Put in terms of the little boy and girl at the curb, sometimes it even seems as though the one on the curb wants to push the other one back and keep them from getting on. And if I interpret that wrongly, well, at least that's the way it was in Jesus' day. And so he told those closest to him, woe to those who would cause a little one to stumble and fall. Part of having a shepherd is actually wanting a shepherd. It's wanting someone to curb us at times. And this hurts to say, but when we forget who we are in the grand scheme of things, however high our GPA was or is, or whatever our salary is, or whatever our title is, sometimes we get that feeling sitting beside someone that, oh, we know a lot more about something than them. And spiritually, we suddenly want to take the place of the shepherd and become the teacher or the instructor. We think we're going toward omniscience, I guess, or thinking that we need to be omnipresent everywhere, or it won't go right if we're just not there helping out. And then we move a bit toward a God complex. To be a shepherd, and this is the hard part, is wanting to be one of the sheep, or admitting that we're like one of the sheep. Jesus puts it this way, those who wish to follow me have to deny themselves, their own wants, their own unhealthy tendencies. Peter put it this way today, having to repent, turn, change 180 degrees, not to follow Peter, but to follow Jesus. It's the letting go of I must have, I want, I expect, and you should, and you ought. And don't you think it would be better if the way is narrow and Jesus is the gate, the shepherd? And there are some that will pose as shepherds, but Jesus doesn't seem to care much for those. He calls them the false shepherds. And then comes in our lives words like cancer, alcoholism, suicide, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, heart failure, death of a child, mental illness, felony conviction, chronic pain, trapped in ongoing cycles of abuse, bankruptcy, sudden accidental death, divorce, brain death, all the words none of us like to hear. And yet God calls us to walk with others through those journeys, or to walk in our own lives through those journeys. God has called me to walk with people that I care about deeply through